Welcome to another session on entrepreneurship. Poverty is simply defined as lack of money. Poverty only looks glamorous in movies. Poverty is not something that you want to relieve if you've ever been poor. If you've ever gone to bed hungry, if you've ever slept on the hard floor, if you've ever been kicked out of school because you can't afford school fees, if you've ever been the only one that walks around with your bare cheeks, your bottom showing because you can't afford new clothes, then poverty is not something you look up to. So I will share with you my 5 strategies on how to eradicate poverty from your life. Number 1 here, we start with education. The right education here is key. Education simply means that it gives you enough information to make it easier for you to be able to come up with solutions to any of your life's challenges. You remember clearly that when you went to school, a teacher will only read with you only a small section of a chapter or a part of a book. And the rest of the time, they give you the ability, they give you homework to take the book home and read. Have you ever asked yourself why they do that? The point of doing that is to make it easy for you to be able to think. Education should give you the ability to be able to think. But the unfortunate thing with most of the education that we find nowadays, they tell you what to think rather than how to think. Education makes it easier for you to be able to make informed decisions. It makes it easier for you to be able to make informed decisions when it comes to the challenges of life. It protects you from making stupid mistakes in life. It makes it easier for you to know when somebody wants to lure you into a pyramid scheme, when people try to make you give away your hard-earned money, promising you high returns in the shortest time. Education gives you the ability to be a critical thinker and read through the bullshit that the person is doing that. So it's very important for you to have education. And when it comes to education, some of us have what we call native education. Education is just not going to school. Gone are the days that you had to have money, your parents had to have money, where you have to pay for tertiary education that is expensive. There's so many ways of us educating ourselves nowadays. Now remember, school education will always give you a job. But self-education will always help you make a life. Self-education is the best kind of education that you need in our present circumstances. Number 2 here, you need what we call marketable skills. Marketable skills. A lot of people are educated. Now, education is the broader sense of having a lot of information so that you can use that information in terms of responding to life challenges. Now, marketable skills is simply about being very specific on what the market needs. Marketable skills, a lot of people don't have money, and in most times, that's what we define as being poor. But if you dig deeper, it's simply lack of skill. Because society is so developed, and not everybody can do everything. People have to be very specific in specific things. And for me to be able to eat mangoes today, I don't have the time for me to go and be a farmer. For me to reward that farmer, I can only exchange that value by giving him money. So in most cases, people that are struggling from a poverty perspective, irrespective of how educated they are lacking a marketable skill. So yes, you have your education and you have to invest in something. What does the market need? What does my immediate environment need? What is that I'm so good at now that if I do it, other people find it so hard for them that I can charge for? So marketable skills is very important. The third thing that you need to invest in here is sales. Learn to sell. Learn to sell. Life is a marketplace. You're either buying or selling every single day. And you have to learn, the first thing that you need to learn to sell is you need to learn to sell yourself. You are a product in this world. You are a resource. You have to learn how to sell yourself. You have to learn to teach people what your value is. Then you need to learn to sell things. You need to learn to sell ideas. The most successful people in the world are so very good at selling themselves. Remember, everybody starts with nothing. Unless you're coming from a very rich background, everybody and most of the most successful people start with nothing. So they have to have the ability. Can you sell your ideas? And that's where it brings us back to point number one, where the education comes in. Can you read? Reading makes it easier for you to have a bigger vocabulary so that you can have enough words for you to be able to be articulate in terms of you selling yourself as a product or as a solution to whatever the societal problems is. Take something like Facebook. Most people go to Facebook for social, but Facebook is a marketplace. You're either selling or buying. If you're not selling something on Facebook, you are the product. Somebody is selling you, because then Mr. Zuckerberg is using you going to Facebook, using your focus, losing your attention. He's taking that as a trade-off to go to any people there and promise them that I can bring 100 people to come look at your product. So you need to learn to sell. Without being able to sell, you will struggle, okay? Relationships, number 4. You can have all the education in the world. You can have all the marketable skills in the world. You can be able to sell yourself as much as you can. But if you don't have great relationships, now when it comes to relationships, I need you to have 3 relationships that you have to take cognizance of. Number 1 is a relationship with your blood people. These are where you are gone. You need to have a good relationship with your siblings, with your wife, with your brother, with your sisters, with your parents, because that gives you a lot of peace of mind. The second relationship, you need to have a relationship with peers, people you work with, people in your professional capacity, people that you share ideas with, people that you learn things from. And then you need to have relationships with people that are above you, people that you aspire to be. So I always say, for you to be successful, 1, you need what we call the door openers. These are people that know people that you want to know. Second, you need to have what we call the door kickers. These are the people, after you have an idea, they have the power, they have enough people in their line of support to help you run with the ideas. And then you need the funders. You need the people with the money now. The people that believe your idea now can invest in that idea and bring it to fruition. So apart just from having relationship, it's just not who you know. How well do you know the people that you know? You need to be able to know people on a very personal and professional level. Then number 5 here, you have to stop being entitled. Stop being entitled. Most of the young people, and even people my age, we suffer from a sense of entitlement. We think that somebody owes us something. We feel like the world owes us. We feel like our parents owe us. We feel like our boss owes us. We feel like the people among us that are rich and successful owe us. We feel like God owes us. We feel like we always go into these places with a sense of entitlement. I can tell you, my friend, that will floor you faster than anything else, because anybody that feels entitled is bound to be disappointed. Because the truth is, nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you anything. I remember the first time I was starting my business here, I had some of the richest customers in this country. And I thought that when I'm going to break free on my own and start a business, that they're going to be the first people that are going to invest their money in me and invest the money in my business. And I had that entitlement in my head until I went to them and I said, this is what I want. And all of a sudden, none of them were willing to invest money in me. But the same person will come and tell me after we've trained, let's go walk outside. They'll go outside and show me a car for 2 million rands that they just bought their son for his 18th birthday. In my head was like, I'm only asking for 50,000 rands. Why can't you sponsor me? But I had to turn around in my head and think, this is his money. He can do with it what he pleases. He doesn't have to give me that money. He doesn't know me from above. So I train him. And for the services that I offer him, he pays me. So he doesn't owe me anything. And it's the same thing I've come to realize with God. God has given me a life. I owe him to sacrifice my life to serve him. It's not about me going them and demanding. So a sense of entitlement has become one of the things that is affecting most of our youth nowadays. So to recap this, remember, number one, education, education, education. And education never ends. You consistently have to keep on reading books. Most successful people read books. Your most successful people in the world, they read a book a week. I've learned to read, and when I was starting to read, trust me, one person that forced me to read a lot was my mother. And my mother used to have two pens, a black pen and a red pen. She used to force us to sit down and read. And after you've read for whatever the chapter, you bring it to her. She'll either use the red pen to mark you if you've done wrong, the black pen to write right. It only took me so many years later to realize that even my mother doesn't know how to read. It's only when I started reading and I could ask her things she couldn't answer me. But what was she doing? She didn't want me to be like her. And she knew that if I don't read, I'm going to end up being like her. So leaders are readers. Marketable skills. I had to say that everybody wants to be a trainer. And one thing that I do, I want to mix physicality, spirituality, and high performance. Nobody does what I do. So most trainers will never be my competitors in any way. That is something that I had to develop and build on my own. Selling. I was too afraid to sell because every time we spoke about money, I come from a poor background and I was using my upbringing approach, my upbringing script, my father's script. I had to change my belief system to realize that when I charge people money, I'm doing them a favor. When somebody comes to me and I help that person get rid of diabetes, lower their blood pressure, bring their weight down, they go out there, they feel good about themselves, they start making more money, I'm doing them a favor. So for me to charge them, I should not charge them less money. I have to charge them according to that. Relationships. I've learned how to build relationships. And of course, I know nobody owes me anything. If I want it, I have to work for it. And let me tell you, young man, I will outrun you. I'll outwork you. I'm always the hardest working man in the room until I drop dead. I hope this works, and I will. If you like this, if it makes sense, do what is the right thing. Remember to comment, remember to share, and don't forget to subscribe and like this because it helps us when it comes to the Google search. Catch you in the next one. Au revoir, arigato, kwaheri.